It's unusual that natural tunnels like this still exist. Most of them got flooded. Fired up. Carving it up. Right in the face. Looks good. This area was beautiful before the tribe war began. Look at it now. It's a war zone. That might come in handy. That's the Myriad Tribe's fortress. Will they be friends or foe? You should head up there. That way you'll know. Let's see. It's a beaten path to that door. If you go there, you'd better make an entrance. Says they're wary of strangers. They're at war. Thinks you should just put one paw ahead of the other and make your way up there. The tribe is always open to a new face.
La vanen agin kan man. Geraten der fall hutut mustugai la wute.
The Myriad tribe act on understanding of the greater good and a code of honor. They believe uniting the tribes is the only way to restore the peace. The Sifu is convinced that defeating the World Eaters and saving the Tree of Life is the only way to make the world a better place. He welcomes you to the Myriad Fort and introduces himself as... But he was hoping you'd show up. The news of a vigilante Ronin on crusade crossing the Great Wall through the crack in Bunker 101 has preceded you. The wall that separates them from the other side? The wasteland you came from? He guesses the time spent there just left a blank space in your memory, as empty and barren as the wasteland itself. He's convinced you've returned for a reason, and is glad you chose to come here. There's something about your spirit that sparks memories of you as a kidling. He can still sense you're kind-hearted. The Sifu says sometimes one memory can make another come to life. He hasn't thought about your Muma for ages, even though she taught him a lot. He was one of the original Wang Fu disciples. Your Muma invented Wang Fu. Originally, it consisted of unarmed combat and the 6 weapons: the boomerang, the shuriken, the bow, the staff, the nunchuk, and the hook and chain. The Sifu says it's time to set the past aside, at least for now. Unrest is sweeping the land, and there are rivals in all directions. Myriad wants unity between the tribes. Their goal is understanding of the greater good and establishing a code of honor. If you believe there's some good in everyone, there's still hope for tomorrow. You'll unite the tribes and defeat the World Eaters to save the Tree of Life. He was hoping you'd join them. You understand that there's no harm in doing good to others. The Sifu was waiting for something to tip the balance in their favor, and with you by their side, he's confident you can unite the other tribes. The one you should The Jagni tribe may believe that fear and hatred will lead them to domination. A vanquisition of the tribes and destruction of the Tree of Life won't be the restart they want. It's just an end to everything. Their kin have run out of options and found themselves backed into a corner. Even those who desire peace have been forced to prepare for war. They might bring them war, but they'll never take away their inner peace. He wants you to focus. These are the new rival outposts your tribe needs to take control of. He says you'll regret not being on their side. The only way you'll learn their secrets, Wung Fu and the tribe weapon now, is if you defeat him. And that will never happen. You both have gentle minds, so they want to wage a gentle war. A war that bonds as much as it breaks. Tells you not to be afraid. Your fate cannot be taken from you. Claim the rival outposts and earn the right to wield the tribe weapon. Once you've dealt with the rivals' outposts, you'll challenge their Sifu to unite their tribe with yours and let your kin share land again. They passed the point of no return as their words lost power and see no other way forward than using violence to combat violence. Seeing you brings back his memories of the old village. Myriad wants unity between the tribes. Their goal is understanding of the greater good and establishing a code of honor. He remembers your kind and unselfish soul and can sense you still have it in you, the will to do good. Anyway, the memories you make with your family are strong and can sometimes come to life. Passing the old village, even though it's now a different place from a different time, it is a place that'll make you remember. Can't understand why you don't just give up on helping things. Says you should take it easy. Says there's an interesting place nearby that no one knows about, but doesn't really want to talk about it right now. The tree remains intact, but you must all make a says goodbye to you. Asks you to check out the wares, confident you'll find everything. Says they've got the best.
Kärivitse dri unkula sutu kärivitse dri unkula.
Yukyune nenefaye. Yukyune
Says glad to.
Tretolkota, Pretnamisi, Wunam.
Says you should find goop. Just look for the Subnautica station.
Nafa, hajua samagila kedre.
Better beware, that's a mump up ahead. They were hit hard by evolution, the wonky ones especially, deformed and unfurred. Nice shot. Nice shot. You're in pain. time is lost on this place, but it evokes a tingling sensation. There's something special about it, drawing you closer. Let's see. As time passes, memories fade, and sometimes feelings change. It's not about who you were, it's about who you'll become. This story is far from over. Echoes of a long-lost past, like whispers in the wind. Here's someone who takes each day as it comes. He asks how you are today. Then he wants you to know that if you find yourself going through bad times, you should just... He wonders where you've been. He hopes you've been out at the lake, practicing your swimming technique. Learning to swim can be scary when you don't know what you're doing. But he thinks you should really know how to swim by now. And he'll... He says, that wasn't too bad, was it? Way to go. But you need practice. Lots of practice. Great. You just need more time in the surf. That's the only way you'll ever learn how to swim. You can never. Judging by your Muma's look, it seems you forgot something. You promised you'd train with her before the sun goes down. It's time to go. The dedication to training is important. You should know, practice makes perfect. As long as it doesn't... She'll see you at the village square. She'll be waiting. Here's another familiar face with lots on his mind. Asks how you're feeling today. His own... He was hoping you... He wonders what usefulness you found. He can work wonders with almost anything and asks if you know how to upcycle. You did well, but he can't help but wonder why you decided to craft a weapon. He understands. It looks like she's starting to lose her patience. You know she doesn't like waiting for you. She wants to...
Andro?
Then you've got a good excuse. You share a responsibility to... She wants you to grow up and start thinking for yourself. You really need to find yourself before she's gone. That's all she's ever asked of you. You've always followed your own path, but this time she needs you to follow. They look determined. Better watch out. He asks you to stop right there and wonders... There's no way they'll let you pass. He wants to know who you think you are.
mai multe.
She asks if you're hurt. What happened? If confidence is silent, the most important thing is... It's time to focus on your training now. She said it before. Wang Fu will keep your body... Here's someone close to heart, doing what he does best. Seeing you always puts a smile on your Popsy's face. He wants to know how you're feeling. He heard you helped Gizmo clean up. He asks if you could help him too before you leave for training. He'll talk to her, sure, but you know she wants you to... He suggests you get going and find him gadgets and ideas for how you can up... He's curious to... He's all for renewal and has even considered making the trip out into the wilds. He can work wonders with pretty much anything and asks if you know how to upcycle. Thinks some are. He says it's about time you... The style might be too edgy for his taste, but it looks sharp on you. He knows. You should take it with you. Wear it to practice. He's looking forward to seeing what... Your Muma says it's about time you got here.
Pala,
Hopes you're as ready as you claim to be.
pala, volakamunum
But there's enough time left for repetition, and you need it. Training dummies don't hit back.
Kalino?
Wants you to prove that.
Yo no massaman barut.
Your Muma says you did well today. She's so proud of you.
Yo no massaman kodotuku tukonda.
Been working on a present for you. With the...
Urasa durut. Pial tu ma.
You should go see him and find out what it is. You've deserved it.
Urasa durut.
That's why... Catchy.
Pial tu ma.
Your Muma says she's never seen an apparatus as green as this little thing. It's wonderful.
Ruhemuk tono.
She's happy you appreciate what others do for you.
Brumblene marsaman bunundun. Inadab sunka.
A piece of Scraptronics like this has built-in old-world tech that makes it a...
Puri kumbala muma.
It's called an automaton, and it's hardwired to your DNA. It'll follow wherever you go and see whatever you see.
Brumblene marsaman bunundun. Tatenko baba sakting.
Says it's not a record keeper, more like a...
Tatenko baba sakting.
Your Muma says you look tired. No wonder. It's been a long day.
Puri kumbala muma.
She's so happy you made the most of it. Rest, and you'll find strength for tomorrow. Nothing could stop Luka Luka from setting the world on fire.
Antoro. Kensi. Kamonu.
Your Muma urges you to blaze a trail. A burnt kidling will learn to dread fire. That's just adding fuel to the flames. Give it a last burst and you'll make it.
Anora kapapon.
Your Muma says this is it. The time has come. She must...
Kensi. Kalino.
There's nowhere to...
Arialoche nui mumera. Kensi. Aplitonomuta.
Whatever happens, you need to know she loves you. And everything...
Urasa durut.
She tells you to stay back. This is her fight. It has nothing to do with you.
Inyavaldo. Kanamunta.
She loves how brave you are. Here it comes. The past coming to haunt the present. must go through fire and water to make it out of here. Your Muma says you can make it if you believe in it. Where she goes, you go. Blood is thicker than water. You're in deep surf. Don't make waves. The surf goes where it wants to go. It'll take you to the shore as long as you go with the flow. Death is not to be feared by one who has lived life with a pure heart. A part of her will live on in you. The creature is hungry for more. Nothing is going to stand in its way now. If a sacrifice is made for someone else, it's not lost, but passed on to the next. Life must go on. Real sacrifice comes from love and necessity when all other options are exhausted. The ultimate test of conscience is the willingness to give up anything to save what you truly care about. What you do for yourself dies with you. What you do for your kin remains and makes you immortal in their memory. As the moment fades and is lost, the only thing that remains is loneliness. It doesn't mean you'll forget your past. It simply means you need to move on. The tribe's caught a fluffy hulk. Better watch out, it's no pet. They couldn't keep it down. Fluff hulk's on the loose. A smart foe would leave now. Slash.
Zabatiobel Plarike Pritio, Nabukelio.
You gave them no choice but to take it down, even though they'd planned to take the fluff hulk out to the Farfnacky leaves and let it go.
Beveg bepa man para popak, veitsum paptiansibia.
They've received news a Ronin had strengthened their ranks and were looking forward to
La Surayafa te mefafa.
a group of myriad crusaders all...
Nämä pölkykkäin
You should hurry there and help them best the out...
Iljapkap rev grejab.
You As long as you're happy about it. Look, an emergency box from the old days, when you needed to pack a punch to survive. Wow, bet that nut makes a tight fist. Well, what do you know? Tunnels like this still carry echoes from the past. Can you hear it? Well placed. Knuckle sandwich. Slammer. You should be able to use that. Just listen. You might hear something important. Not just from me. That notice board? Filled with the leftovers of used-to-be wants. You're getting close to one of those old Toxanol brick towns. Pay attention. The Toxanol Corporation made this place, and then just threw it away. Toxanol never cared about the waste, as long as they didn't have... There must be a track somewhere in this brick town. Just hope it's not... There are places up ahead far worse than this. Let's see. Better get a move on if you want to change things. You found the track! Amazing it wasn't destroyed. When Toxanol abandoned the place, it fell apart fast. The tracks moved on from Bricktown. Would you look at that? A fry sparker from the back in time. Hardware that looks like the fry sparker's knobs need to be in sync if you want to get the hardware working. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Get the knobs in sync to make the hardware work. It's not the fry sparker that's the problem, it's what's put into it. You're not supposed to put skronk in it. Get the knobs in sync to make the hardware work. It's not the fry sparker that's the problem, it's what's put into it. You're not supposed to put skronk in it. Guess that's proved right. Get the knobs in sync to make the hardware work. It's not the fry sparker that's the problem, it's what's put into it. You're not supposed to put skronk in it. Guess that's proved right. Someone will pay dearly for that. The light you see at night is brighter than you think. A flush stool from the back in time. Seems like the tighteners on the piping need to be unturned correctly to drain the flush stool. Just a few moves left. Make them count. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. Maybe it's later than you think. Hard to tell at night. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. Flexity flex. You need to unturn the pipe tightness to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. Everything seems to take longer at night. You need to unturn the pipe tightness to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tightness to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tightness to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tightness to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tightness to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tightness to drain. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. You need to unturn the pipe tighteners to drain the flush stool. That's what you could call a wet disaster. Stories keep moving whether you drive them or not. Get the knobs in sync to make the hardware work. It's not the fry sparker that's the problem, it's what's put into it. Get the knobs in sync to make the hardware work. It's not the fry sparker that's the problem, it's what's put into it. You're not supposed to put skronk in it. Guess that's proved wrong. Get the knobs in sync to make the hardware work. It's not the fry sparker that's the problem, it's what's put into it. You're not supposed to put skronk in it. Guess that's proved right. Will the dawn never come? The board mainly has posts from those that used to work at the chug yard back in the days gone. They don't make much sense these days. Not much more to say about the board, but Gizmo is holed up in the underyard here working on that mech. The Toxanol Corporation used to run chugger-chuggers out of here, big machines on. They can carry you anywhere you like, well, anywhere that they go to, and then you can leg it from. You're on the right track. Tribe's always scavenging for scrap, and the yard has plenty to go around. But they should have stuck to looting instead of playing around with sprockets. Bomper Bonker's busy ram-banging the door. This is your chance. Let's see. The best stories are about heroes. This is such a story. Mind blown. Yes, you can do anything. The sky's the limit. Now, let's take this back to Earth. Wow, you really took that all the way down to the end, in flames. Disgusting. Biohazard. Just gross. It's a wonder some of these up and downs still work. Guess they built machines better in the past. The spent nuclear fuel that Toxanol dumped in the surf had detrimental effects on the marine habitats, while the overflowing landfills contaminated the groundwater. Combined, this sent their world hurtling on an inevitable road to ruin. I need to brush up on my Wando, but I have a feeling Oh, and he says he knows you. You used to... Gizmo remembers you as a knight. But Gizmo says how you experience... Gizmo says he also... You still believe there's some good in everyone. He says you should know that what's meant to be will always find... Gizmo encourages that. You should forgive, but...
Fan that flame!
Wait, no! Bright light blinds you!
I've got all the cold sick...
Oh, do you have to...
I don't have to.
Would like to know if you ever doubt the choices you made on the path that brought you to this point. Would you have been happier? Grateful to you for coming back and doing your best to change. Wonders if you liked working with the Myriad. They always seemed so centered and so seeking. But that's not... Gizmo says it's taken a long time to bring the past up to the present. He can't leave the underyard as he has no protection against the vacuum in the fruit. You should return when... It's the part of the land that suffered most from... The world is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. There's short of breath and death to this zone. Better take care. He who half breathes, half lives. That's the leftover you're looking for. It feels like an ancient dungeon down here. Look up, not down. Ooh-wee, that's biohazard. Zippity-doo-dah. He says that's enough to get the Mekton functional. You'll have an engine, He made a suction device so the Mekton can use the black tar as an instant refuel. You can also... He's been working on another project for the Mekton, a cannon, but it needs... The best way to find scripts is to go talk to Moog. He knows the ins and outs of every breathing thing left alive after the apocalypse. Unfortunately, this means you'll have to venture farther out into the dead zone than Moog's camp on the steep depot. Once you find Moog, he'll be able to give you direct... It's a little feisty and tough critter. This would make anyone woozly. Right out. Hear that? It's called quiet. The Grease Monkey's Mekton is built sturdy, just like himself. Can you imagine how this place used to look before the dead oil flood? Might want to hold your breath before you head any further. You're about to witness the breathtaking vistas of what's known as the Dead Zone. That over there is Steepo Depot, the cliffside that Moog hangs on to. This might be the end of everything as we know it.
In Mo. Diava. Sam Tarinman.
This one's impressed to see you out here. He figured you'd be dead by now.
Sam.
Says a monster hunter hears many things on the wind. Moog says choosing what to kill and what to spare are the most... You might have a steady aim. It's hard to make those life or death decisions for others, but someone's got to do it. When it comes to monsters, says it's wild that the world seems to be coming back, but he supposes... Wonders why you work so hard to keep things alive. Says you should give up on working with the stubborn myriad. He keeps trying to put out their lights and they keep putting up new ones. Says they keep the monsters away. He needs them close. But enough of that. He says the wild... He's not sure about their veggie diet anymore, and if it's changed, who knows what it's done with the chemical... Right now, though, he feels he's come to a point where he's got a pretty clear idea on the whereabouts of... Says as big as they are. Moog. Fortunately for you, there's no better place to start than a squip cave. Hunting down a couple of these little critters for yourself should keep... Says it's not far at all. Let's see.